So now we are learning load balancing of your storefront servers. So in our lab, we have SF1 and SF2, that two storefront servers readily available, which is installed with the storefront services. Now we need to create a stores. So I'm currently logged into storefront 1, SF1. I'm creating a store. Next, my store name is my apps. My apps is my store I'm going to create. So I make it as a anonymous. uh, Only authenticated users, sorry, I don't want to select this option. This is a security issue. I'm selecting this Citrix ADC is the default IS website for SF1 storefront 1. Now I want to add a delivery controllers. Bargo, can you tell me what is the delivery controller name? Is this working now? MAHALL hyphen ALL 001. That's correct, right? So training.lab, right? Okay. So now I added my delivery controllers as well. And now I'm selecting the connection would be 40. Click OK. ఎప్పుడు ఇన్స్టాల్ చేశారు మీరు? Yes, that's correct. If you're okay, I'll add it to HTTPS. Okay, it's a secure connection. Next, so here is a remote access. If you want to, you can directly add your NetScaler appliance. You can add it, but I'll do it manually. Okay, and username and password, and URL is will be creating once you click create. So meanwhile, we'll create a SF2 also. So next, giving the same name, my apps, and select the default website. MAH-ALL-001 .training.lab. Okay, next, create. So meanwhile we'll check SF1. So it will take some time to create your storefront sites. So meanwhile we will do some load balancing configuration on the NetScaler server. Okay. Now log into NetScaler 1. So after you log in, so now we need to check which one is a primary and which one is secondary. So whatever the configuration you are doing on primary only, currently we are logged into secondary. So that means I need to log into primary. That is a ADC2. Okay. So first step, go to system settings. So here we have some basic features will be available. By default it will be unchecked. So we need to select some basic features. So like in this class we are not discussing all the features. Okay. So now only explaining the load balancing. Okay. Now I'm selecting only load balancing. So mostly we require the SSL offloading, rewrite, authentication, audit, HTTP compression, content switching, integrated caching. So these are the options we require basically. So now I'm only discussing for the load balancing concept here. Click OK. Now we have to go and check the services. So where we need to check the services? So we have a traffic management option in the left side. Expand the traffic management. In the traffic management, we have option called load balancing. Expand the load balancing. We have a servers. So now here we need to add your web servers. So we have to add your web servers. So that is our storefront servers I'm adding. So how to add? So click on add, and so these are the information we need to provide here. Okay. Sagar, class lo namal call this. So now I use sf1 dot training.com training.lab. So we need to check whether it is correct or not. sf1 dot training.lab. sf1 it's working. So now stores are created properly. And what is IP address? What is IP address of SF1? So now I need to check that first. So it's a 10.48 192.168.10.48. So do you want to any information you want to enter? Not required here. Directly you can create it. So now it is created storefront 1. Same way storefront 2 also we can add like this. Okay, sf2 dot training dot lab IP address. Log into the second server and I need to check that. Ten dot 54. So now click create. So now there are two storefront servers we are successfully added to our servers. So both are enabled. So showing is now green state. So now we need to add services. So where is services available? So the above servers we have option called services. And now we need to add a service and we need to bind the servers to that. So now I need to add this and what is the service name? Example SVC stand for service, might be SF1 storefront 1. What is the IP address we are selecting? Okay, so better you want to use existing server and you have to drop down list and you have to select the and pointing to the exact server, so mentioning the server name. And so do you know what protocol we are using to connect storefront server? Basically either HTTP protocol or HTTPS protocol. So if you have any certificates are installed on the storefront server, yes, we can use a HTTPS. At present we are using only HTTP. I just click OK. Now load balancing services also created. Load balancing services also created. Now it is a server state is up, protocol is HTTP. Just go down. So now there is a one service to load a balancing monitoring binding. So this is a very important for you. So now what you'll do, just click on this option. Now we have to option called add bindings. We have to option called add bindings. So the add bindings, the load balancing monitors, so here we need to click on select this option. We have to select this option. There are so many monitors available by default. The default they have so many monitors that will be available. So we have to select a HTTP ECV. We have to select a HTTP ECV. That's a by default we have available. And just go down, or else we can close it here. It is not selecting. HTTP add. So now it is selected. And go down. So we have some settings will be available. Just you can click create. Okay, I think it's already added. Just go back. What happened? HTTP ECB select. Yes. Now the weight value will be 1 by default. Do not change anything there and click bind. So now my HTTP service is bind successfully. Now I just close. I'm back to the previous screen, and below we have a done option will be there. Just click on done. So now your SVC, the services was created for storefront 1. Now it is showing is a up. So we have to check whether your configuration is properly created or not. So same way we need to create another one, SVC underscore SF2, sorry, SF2. Use an existing server and SF2 selected, and use the protocol same, no changes at all. Go down, click one service load balancing, and click add bindings, and click arrow mark here, HTTP ECB, and select here, bind it, close this option, and click on done. So now as of now your services are added and servers are added, and both the services and servers are mapped respectively with the monitoring services. So now we are monitoring the services with HTTP protocol. Now the servers are up. If any servers are down, immediately NetScaler will be easily monitored and it will load balance the, so either SF1 or SF2. So for that reason we created. So as of now, any questions? As of now, any questions? No, right? So next, virtual servers. What is meaning of virtual servers? Before going to virtual servers, I need to save the NetScaler configuration. Virtual servers. So normally, I told you, so whenever you are accessing from external internet site, so we are giving some friendly names, mail.google.com, maps.google.com, mail.yahoo.com, yes or no? So that is called friendly name. Actually alanti server ki name e undadu. That is a virtual name, is a friendly name. Understood? So you can choose any virtual server name, your wish. Okay, so now I'm just click add. I just click add, and I want to give your virtual server name. So what will give the virtual server name? My apps. I'm providing my apps. So what is the protocol? I am using HTTP and IP address. So below one I need to provide one IP address, because I need to communicate to whenever I'm typing from the browser in the internet or intranet. So if internet, we need to give the public IP address. So my apps will be, we have to purchase from any trusted domains like GoDaddy, big rocks. So if who are all available in the internet level, so we have to go there and we have to purchase the domain. It's a friendly name. Or else if you are using for private, and that name, whatever the name you can provide, and that name will be registered with the local IP address. Local IP address. Right? So we have to provide any private name. We have to provide any private name here. So let's go to the NetScaler lab, and you have to take one of the IP address. So so 101 and up to 107 we used, right? So I'll directly type it here. There's a name called VIP. VIP means virtual IP address. VIP means virtual IP address 192.168.10.108. Okay, guys, you can. I'm also giving the names. You can use it. 109. 110. So what is the name? What is the IP address I want to provide here? 192.168.10.108. So done. I successfully created virtual servers. So what we need to do? The virtual servers I need to bind with the so no load balancing virtual server service binding. What we need to do? We have to click on this and select this option and select both SF1 and SF2. SF1 and SF2. Select here and bind it. So it will take some time. It will take some time to bring up. So click continue and click done option. So before we are going to done, some advanced methods we are following. So in the right side we have a method option is there. Click on this, and here by default we have a least connection will be there, and we have to select the round robin. So this is the advanced concepts. We are not covering this completely. Is advanced networking concepts in NetScaler. Round robin configuration I'm selecting, and the backup load balancing method would be least connection. So this by default we are selecting, and click OK. And then click on persistence, and the persistence we have to select the cookie inset. You know, right? Whenever you browse, you are using cookies will be installed and accepting the browser sometimes. Have you watched somewhere else in any websites? Same way here also cookies insets. The by default options will be normally will be there. So if you want to change any the required time settings, anything you want to mention there. Okay. So the timeout minimum is at 2 minutes is there. I'm changing to 1 minute. Okay, the field. Then click OK and done. Then after we have to save the running configuration. Save the running configuration. That's it. My job is over. So what we need to do? My apps is up. So now what is the virtual IP address? 192.168.10.108. So now go to browser 192.168.10.108. So guys, this 108 is a storefront 1 or 2? No, this is belongs to VIP virtual IP address. So this virtual IP address is based upon the which is available in NetScaler storefront server. The communication then only will be bypass the connection. So we can hit the connection. The IP address will be I'm taking. So now connection is hit to which server? Now storefront 1. Now again I am typing 192.168.10.108. Now again I am connecting to the same website. I am connecting to SF1. So I'll open another browser. One 192.168.10.108. So now it is connected to SF2. So now you can tell me, is this load balancing is working? Yes, that's it. So now you can log in and you can launch your applications, no problem. So our connections, everything will be secure through NetScaler. Any questions?